Did you know that the word gossip is related to the word God? Have you heard the song, I heard it through the grapevine? Do you know what the grapevine means in this context? And which is worse, gossip or blackmail? All this and more coming up, but first, do subscribe to The English Nut. Thank you. Erma Bombeck, the American humorist, said, "Some say our national pastime is baseball. Not me. It's gossip." Richard Steele, the Irish writer, said, "Fire and swords are slow engines of destruction compared to the tongue of a gossip." From these two quotes, we can conclude that gossip is both harmful and rampant. Ironically, Richard Steele founded a famous magazine called Tattler in the early 18th century, which covered the lifestyles of the rich and fashionable, which, as we know, are always surrounded by gossip. And the name Tattler, Tattler, seems like a variation of the word Tattler, Tattler, a synonym for gossip. Gossip means talk or reports about a person's life, often his or her private life, which may be malicious and entirely untrue. To talk in this manner is to gossip, the verb form of the word. A person who gossips is also called a gossip, or a tattler or gossipmonger, one who spreads rumours about others. Gossip has travelled a long distance from its origin. The Old English noun godsib, recorded around the year 1014. Wow! That's more than 1,000 years ago. The word was made up of God and sib, the latter meaning akin to or related to. In a similar way, the word sibling, composed of sib and the suffix ling, means one who is of kin to another, a brother or sister. The God part of the word gossip is connected to the God in godfather or godmother, someone who acts as a sponsor at a Christian baptism. So originally, gossip referred to a godfather or godmother, a person who formed a close spiritual bond with not just the baptized child, but also to its parents and to the other godparent. From the sense of the bond between parents and godparents, the word gossip came to mean a friend. The Irish author Henry Brooke used the word in this sense in his book In the Fool of Quality, or the History of Henry Earl of Morland. Walter Warmhouse, he wrote, a substantial farmer in Essex, was advised by Sergeant Craw that he had an unquestionable right to a certain tenement in the possession of Barnaby Boniface, his next neighbour and gossip. Gossip was also commonly used to refer to a woman's female friends invited to be present at a birth. Thomas Fuller, the Church of England clergyman, wrote in the History of the Worthies of England, published 1662, it was fashionable for the clergy to have their surnames superadded to those given at the font from the places of their nativity, and therefore they are as good evidence to prove where they were born. As if we had the deposition of the midwife and all the gossips present at their mother's labours. Giving birth was a social event for women. The pregnant woman's female relatives and neighbours would gather for it. Possibly because they would indulge in idle conversation during these events, gossip came to mean to talk of others. However, there is no evidence to suggest that women have a monopoly on gossip in the current sense. Men probably indulge in it just as much. Gossip flows in organizations through informal networks known as the grapevine. You know, like the song, I heard it through the grapevine. The lyrics go, don't you know that I heard it through the grapevine? Not much longer would you be mine. Oh, I heard it through the grapevine. Oh, I'm just about to lose my mind. Honey, honey. The song highlights the pain of a person who has heard through gossip that he or she is going to get dumped. The song was written for Motown Records, and the first recording of it was released in 1967, sung by the group Gladys Knight and the Pips. It became the biggest selling Motown Records single to date. It has been performed by various other musicians as well. The version I like the most was sung by Marvin Gaye. Released in 1968, it became for a time the biggest hit single of the Motown label. Coming back to the corporate world, managers sometimes find it more convenient to gather information through the grapevine rather than more formal channels. But whether it be at the workplace or in society at large, this so-called information or gossip may be a deliberate distortion of the facts, designed to harm certain individuals. It's a terrible thing to be a victim of it. Gossip was and is used as a way of pressuring people to conform to socially acceptable behavior. This function of it is used by some to legitimize it. Will Rogers, the American actor and social commentator, wrote, "Live in such a way that you would not be ashamed to sell your parrot to the town gossip." This was his witty way of explaining the social function of gossip. But there is a thin line between gossiping about others to keep them in line and seriously harming their reputation with distorted accounts of their private life. Many religions actually sanction this sort of talk. In Islam, for example, backbiting is likened to eating the flesh of one's dead brother. This underlines the worst aspect of gossip. The victim does not get a chance to defend him or herself against it, just as the dead cannot defend themselves against their flesh being eaten. Today, gossip can spread to millions in an instant through social media. Politicians and celebrities are particularly easy targets, but they are not the only ones. In student communities, cyber gossip often escalates to cyber bullying, which can be traumatic for the victim. This is why it behoves each one of us to verify information before sharing it, knowing that it has the power to ruin careers and shatter self-esteem. With that great power comes great responsibility. Economist Walter Block has argued that blackmailers are ethically superior to gossips because they give the victims the option of not disclosing damaging information about them in exchange for money. The victim of gossip is not given this choice. It is perhaps an interesting way of underlining just how low down on the scale of righteousness gossiping is, that it makes blackmailing look comparatively ethical. Do you think that it's acceptable to a certain extent to gossip? Do write your opinion below and do subscribe to The English Nut on YouTube. Click on the bell icon too so you get to know as soon as I release a new video. I'm The English Nut. Bye for now.